Welcome back once again to 1983 because we have jumped back into the time machine and are in Dallas, Texas, specifically at the Will Rogers Coliseum at the Will Rogers Coliseum for this edition of Let's Play World Class Championship Wrestling 1983. Now I know some may be saying, world class, some who know World Class Championship Wrestling may be saying how World Class wasn't that bad in 1983. If anything, the early 1980s to the mid 1980s were World Class's golden age for the company. Why wouldn't I, or why shouldn't I, split up or start from take it from the start? In December 1982, Kerry Von Erich faced Ric Flair in a steel cage match, and Terry Bam Bam Gordy turned and slammed the door on Kerry Von Erich. Oh, here's what I was looking for. And slammed the door on Kerry Von Erich, allowing and it saw both the Birds turn heel on Kerry due to miscommunication between Kerry and Michael, and Terry slamming the door on Kerry. And it let Ric Flair win and retain the WCCW Heavyweight Championship, and it sparked the biggest feud in World Class history between the Von Erichs and the Freebirds. And with that being said, why wouldn't I start from the beginning? Because just like most good things, wrestling bookers don't know how to take care of it. And they overdo it until the fans tell them to stop, that we've seen enough. And it was 3 years. 3 years that it took. And unfortunate incidents like what happened with Gino and what happened with David and a whole host of other people. But in this game, we have control. And what I'm going to start doing, and this is the first Let's Play series that actually will have this mindset, you guys will decide how long this goes. I won't. Because I love this era, and I can go off camera, on camera, it doesn't matter to me. But you guys decide how long this series goes, because once you guys stop watching, that's when this series stops. Once you stop watching, that's when the series stops. Until then, this series is going to keep going and going and going. So enjoy while it's here, because that's what it's for. It's supposed to be helping you remember the past, or learn about the past, and see just how much talent, in some cases, was already in in Texas, but also in other cases like El Hijo del Tejas and the Thunderfoots and the Fantastics, I brought in either early or for the first time. But either way, after this disclaimer, with the disclaimer in mind, now it's time to jump into this week's episode of World Class Championship Wrestling. And the show kicks off with El Hijo del Tejas. El Hijo del Tejas going up against Johnny Mantell, and El Hijo del Tejas defeats the veteran of Texas, Mr. Mantell, via submission in the opening contest tonight. By the way, El Hijo del Tejas 66 in-ring performance, Johnny Mantel actually kind of surprised me with a 43. So, the reason why I mentioned the in-ring performance is because it should tell you that El Hijo del Tejas isn't just some random dude that I put a mask under. He is actually somebody that's good in the ring and is going to do good for the gimmick because he's good in the ring. And that's, I had an ulterior motive. I picked somebody who could work. Speaking of that, now we head to Mark Lawrence, who's standing by with Mr. Del Tejas and Jose Lothario, and Mark Lawrence asks Jose what he thinks about what Gary Hart said last week, calling him a loser and saying that the reason why he isn't a successful manager is because he has more of a track record of proteges turning on him than he does of leading him to success. I'm new to the managerial world. And though I have led some proteges into this business, and though I've stood side by side in this ring with with people I've helped break in to this industry, into this professional wrestling business. Into this world of wrestling. That does not make me a loser, because I haven't managed somebody to a championship yet. It doesn't make me a loser. Gary Hart, you're afraid. You're afraid that my client, my boy, is gonna beat Kabuki. You're afraid that I have a better eye for talent than you do. And you said anywhere, anytime, Kabuki will prove why he's the most dangerous man in world-class championship wrestling. Well, let's make it official. I want to see you in this ring next week on this program, so we can make it official and decide when we will find out who is the best, who has the most dangerous client, and I can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am not a loser, and that I am just getting started. So things are intensifying with Jose Lothario and Gary Hart, as we will see next week on this program. Jose and Gary face to face in the middle of the ring with Kabuki and El Hijo del Tejas. The reason, by the way, I just want to mention that before I get to King Kong Bundy's match, the reason why El Hijo del Tejas is not the center point of the feud is because he's new. He's new. That's why I gave him Jose, because Jose is a legend in the territory. I give him a legend of the territory so I can build his feuds to start around Jose, around the people who have irritated Jose, around the people who may just have a axe to grind with Jose. That's the point of having a manager. It helps build feuds. And I'm building the feud off of the credibility of Jose as opposed to the lack of credibility that El Hijo del Tejas has, being fresh into the territory. I just wanted to explain why it seemed like Jose Lothario was the center point of the feud. It's because he is. It's because I want to build around the credibility rather than try and build credibility. You follow? Alright, now we go to King Kong Bundy's match. There really isn't much to this match. Bundy gets the squash match against Spike Huber because I believe in Bundy. I think he could be a credible person to face the Von Erichs event, one of the Von Erichs at the big show or something like that. Just a credible challenger for the Von Erichs. Or even Chris Adams' television title. So now we move on. And we move forward as Bugsy McGraw and the Mongol go up against the Fantastics. The reason why I did this, the reason why the Fantastics faced Bugsy McGraw and the Mongol is because, and the match ended in a countout, is because, number one, I had a funny feeling that Bugsy McGraw and the Mongol would make a good tag team. And don't mind me, I just like moving the microphone around. Actually, I'm not even sure if I need to. I thought Bugsy McGraw and the Mongol would make a good tag team. And that is why I put them together. Because outside of the Fantastics and the Thunderfoots, which, by the way, the Thunderfoots have been switched up, and you will find that out next week on this program, because the Thunderfoots will be in action, tag team action, next week on World Class Championship Wrestling. But either way, the tag team division is very weak, so I put together two guys, Bugsy and the Mongol, to take care of the tag team division, or help the tag team division. And it just so happens that they have great chemistry when teaming together. So, smart move by me. And yes, this will not be the end of the series between the Fantastics and Bugsy and the Mongol. And now we move to Armand's Alley with the debuting Chavo Guerrero and Mando Guerrero. And this is basically because I basically have officially made the decision that Arman Hussein or Husan is not going to manage Kamala, and Kamala will move to the Gary Hart's army and be managed by Gary Hart. And instead, I'm giving Arman the opportunity to have his own talk show. Unfortunately, Chavo did good, Mando did bad. Armand did good, but two-thirds of the segment isn't as good as everybody in the segment doing good. So either way, Armand Hussein gets his talk show and he introduces the newest tag team to World Class Championship Wrestling, and that is Chavo and Mando Guerrero, the Guerreros. And now we head to the next segment. Bruiser Brody goes up against a Missing Link, and Brody gets the victory over Missing Link. And now we move to a pre-match interview of sorts with Kevin Von Erich and Kerry Von Erich standing by with Mark Lawrence. And Mark talks to Kerry and Kevin. Kerry and Kevin. By the way, the reason why David isn't here is just because he's not in action tonight. That's it. David was a part of the show 2 weeks ago, and it doesn't need to be every week with all three of them, so I'm just giving Kerry and Kevin the interview spot this week just to change things up. So, they talk about the Freebirds, they talk about how they'll get their hands on the birds in 2 weeks at, the big event. And I will mention how that's going to go at the end of the show. Or as far as the plan goes now, I will mention at the end of the show how I think things will go. So, there we go. But either way, now we move to, they put over what they're gonna do to the birds when they finally get back in the ring with them, or get in the ring with them. But I can tell you this, it will not be a 6-man tag team match. It will be a tag team and a singles, very likely. So let's just get to the main event right now. As Killer Tim Brooks and the Spoiler go up against Kerry Von Erich and Kevin Von Erich in the main event, as Kerry and Kevin steal the show with a 72, and Kevin seals his fate as one of the top workers in the company with a 77 in-ring performance up against Kerry's 74 and the Spoiler's 68 in-ring performance. And just to not leave him out, Tim Brooks with a 51. But either way, I do believe this might be, of the last 2 weeks, the best main event thus far. And things are just getting started, as now we get a final rating of a 68 and have increased our popularity in 10 regions because of this show. So this was not only the best main event, but this was the best show yet. And I can guarantee you things are just going to keep getting better as we head to the end of the first month and our first big event, which is set for the last weekend of January. And speaking of that, I will tell you this, everything will be made clear next week as far as most of the matches that will be set, or the big matches that will be set for the big event at the end of the month. But I will say this, that very likely right now it will be Kevin and Kerry going up against Michael and Terry in an American Tag Team title match, and Buddy Roberts against David Von Erich. And David Von Erich will face Buddy Roberts for the Texas Heavyweight title on that show as well. So, now, with that being said, as we move forward, let me know down in the comment section below what was your favorite part of the show, what was your least favorite part of the show, and what you would have done differently if you were me. But if you don't want to leave a comment, feedback is always welcomed. So, there are other ways, like leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for more content just like this that you can only find right here at Wrestling Express. Till next time. See you in the next video. Later.